Hi, you guys. I hope you had a really nice night. So we're doing Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Season 13, Episode 4 recap and some gossip. First, let me start off by saying, did you catch the news that Mauricio was seen with a mysterious woman at Soho House in Austin? And why does he keep having like moments with blonde girls if he's so still in love with Kyle, who doesn't look at all blondes? Just saying, every girl he's ever been alleged to have cheated with has been blonde. I'm so confused. I'm sure this really upset Kyle, and for that I feel really sorry. Unfortunately, this is my job, Kyle, so forgive me. I would love to be more sensitive to your situation, but in my current job position, it's not so easy. However, I'm rooting for you, and I'm proud of you for getting sober on the show, and you're right, you don't need alcohol to be fun. You just need to find your footing, and it's coming. Now, that said, a lot of people are lying on the show. It's why the show is shit right now. No kidding. I can't even sugarcoat it. Tonight's episode was such a flop. They're in Vegas. We go to lame locations in Vegas. We have a bunch of people lying on camera. No one's really telling their scary truth. We've got that dumb show that Alex Baskin is really trying to make happen, called Bet It All on Blonde, which is a 2-part Bravo spinoff series about her Las Vegas residency. If you're wondering why they're trying to paint Erika in a positive light, this is it, kids, because they know they can't make her into a villain on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 13 and then have this show come out. She needs to be like rooted for people to watch this show. So they're going to keep her relaxed. And unfortunately, all the other women are too scared to really call each other out at this point. That's why I always say, like, if I was to tell anyone advice going on one of these shows, like, no matter how much you want to become friends with your co-stars, you have to just say, forget it. And you can't. You just have to be like, look, we're friends right now. It may change. I can't say I'm always going to be loyal to you. You got to watch yourself with me. So the women are all lying, all of them. Not one of them is telling us anything that's really going on in their home that is hard to talk about. None of them. But someone's got to be willing to share a secret truth. My marriage is shit. I don't know if my husband cheated, honestly. I don't know. And I mean, they have a whole conversation about cheating, and production has to put in like a montage to show all the times that it's come up that Mauricio, might have cheated on Kyle on the show. But like, the answers we're getting are so guarded, they're so orchestrated that it's just boring to watch. Like, what we really want to watch is Kyle or Dorit admit that they're not 100% sure that their man didn't cheat when they're gone 90% of the time from their house on business trips. How could you not even wonder? That's because they're protecting a narrative, right? So we get to watch a whole lot of shit, basically. And we've got Crystal not bringing anything to the table. Nothing. No problem. We've got Dorit, again, doing the same thing. Oh, I cut PK's wee off if he ever screwed me or wasn't loyal to me. Come on, Dorit. Stop it. Like, at least say, I'm not sure. I'm insecure. He goes away a lot. He's in London a lot. He wasn't there when I got robbed. Where the hell was he? Right. And why didn't you call your wife when you got a DUI, PK? Dorit, didn't you think that was weird? And what about the ring? He hasn't been wearing his ring. So what's going on with that if everything's so hunky-dory? Right. All the producers are going to start playing dirty. And last season, I told you guys on my video, like, recap episode 1, 2, etc., that Sutton, it was known, had a drinking issue. And I'll tell you again how that happened. Last season, a bunch of the women noticed when they were shooting with Sutton that when they were around her shooting earlier in the day, that she smelled like alcohol. So this made the women want to call it out because they're like, I think she's got a drinking problem. Like, why is she constantly got a smell of vodka going and it's like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, early And so the women tried to bring that in the show last season. They didn't let it happen. This season, now they are. Now, Sutton knows that Kyle was in on that. So that is why in tonight's episode, we're going to get to in a minute, she says, I don't think Kyle's my friend, because she knows Kyle was part of the cast that was going to out her on her drinking. Okay, now she went on BravoCon and she said, I don't have a vodka bottle in my purse. No, she didn't, but she does have grapefruit juice in her purse, which probably has vodka in it. And tonight we get a little tease of that from the editors, because we see her making a drink for herself at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They make sure to show us the time, and they make sure to show that she's got a vodka bottle in the cabinet and she's pouring it with her Ocean Spray grapefruit juice. We also get to catch a glimpse of her at the restaurant ordering a grapefruit juice with a vodka, so we see it kind of again. And then we also get to see her drink when Kyle comes over, and it's early in the afternoon. She doesn't want tea. She wants a drink. So we're getting a buildup of that. Garcelle in tonight's episode's jumping ship. She's saying, I don't know if I'm going to have Sutton's back like I have been. Well, that's because she's aware what the cast is going to be bringing up, because it's been going around. And I think last season she was kind of going to stop it, and now she's like, maybe I should let it go, right? So there's a lot of setup happening around this Sutton thing. So we open up the scene, and it's Mauricio and PK, and they're both talking to each other, and PK is like, it hasn't been a great year for us, but gives us no information to Mauricio. Mauricio's like, it's not been a great year for us either, but he doesn't seem to want to talk about it on camera. He also is like, I'm just not going to fight with my wife. And PK is like, well, that's not going to work, because then you're not communicating. And, I'm actually making the scene a lot better than it was, because they didn't really, I'm kind of filling in the blanks. They said a lot less. And then Mauricio says, well, I'd rather just not fight at all, if that's what it means. I just want a happy wife. So we kind of figure out that there's a breakdown in the communication between Mauricio and Kyle at that point. And then Kyle calls Mauricio from Vegas, or vice versa, and Mauricio doesn't want to talk on camera. That's 100% what happened. So he's holding back, and Kyle's like, talk to me like a girlfriend, meaning it's okay, just say it, say something, because this isn't going to work on camera, right? And so Mauricio then starts to talk, but he's still not really sharing that much, because he doesn't want to say it on camera. He's checked out of the show, in my opinion, at this point. And so he gets lost and whatever, and we lose Mauricio. And then what happens is we see all the women break off into groups. We've got Garcelle and Sutton that take a gondola ride. We've got Dorit and Kyle going for lunch, and we have Crystal and Erika going for lunch. So the gist of the conversation between Crystal and Erika, although Erika's outfit was cute, the pink sparkly outfit, I have to give her that, that she misses her old life of being rich when it was like Christmas time, and she had the warmth and like the fun of the money, basically. But there was a lot of arguing, and she felt like he talked down to her, and it was like awful from that perspective. And she doesn't miss a man controlling her and all those things anymore, but she is scared because she's struggling to pay her bills. She has to bring a lot of money in and put a lot of money out. And so, yeah, it's called real life, Erika. Get used to it. So then we see Sutton, smallest violin in the universe. Okay. Then we see Sutton on the gondola. I almost said pergola. She's on the awning. She's on a gondola. And Garcelle's trying to vent about the trust situation with her kids and the rest of the group. And the guy is just singing and singing and singing like opera. And he was a really good voice. And it's funny because she can't finish the thought. And actually, we really don't see that, played out too much more in this episode. It's sort of like the producers tried to get it going and it didn't really go anywhere. So they just left that one behind, oddly. And then we see a talk between Kyle and Dorit. And again, what we're witnessing sucks because she's hesitating to tell the truth. So all we really get out of this scene is Dorit saying she's having trouble in her marriage, but telling us nothing about it. And Kyle admitting that her situation hasn't been good, and her excuse is that Mauricio hasn't been there for her, and that she got sober and didn't want to go to parties anymore. And Mauricio only wants to party really for his job because he's in sales, and she doesn't want to do that anymore. So they kind of have different interests because he's drinking and going to parties, and she doesn't want to. She wants to stay home and chill, and she wants to work out, and she wants to see if she can stay sober and figure out who she is. And so they're on like totally different trajectories. She doesn't say, but I know it's also that Mauricio has not been in town very much. He's been traveling for the agency constantly. So their close relationship is crap. And I think, although she'd never say it on camera, she thinks something's up and has been up a few times. And she can't really address it or talk about it. Okay. So we just watch her get emotional, start to cry, but say zero. And it's obvious because the cameras are there. So it's frustrating as a viewer, and you kind of feel like, God, please, you've got to get this going, you guys. So Sutton says Kyle's having a midlife crisis on a confessional video and says she doesn't know who she is, all this stuff. Dorit speculates that the reason she quit drinking is she feels a loss of control in her marriage and her life and the future. And so she's trying to get super thin and super in shape and not drink so she can get control of something, right? It might as well be your drinking if you can't control your husband and your family and what's happening. So that's her speculation. Anyway, this is the kind of bullshit we have to listen to for a while. Then we find out that Garcelle and Sutton go to lunch with Oliver. And we see the scene in Vanderpump Rules where he makes out with Rachel Leviss. He's still married to his wife. Garcelle then calls out that he got a lot of backlash for that from, read between the lines, the Bravo fans. And she says it's unfortunate because he was separated at the time. But truth is, his wife didn't know he was separated at the time, and she made that pretty clear on her Instagram. So this was really Garcelle, I think, just trying to protect Oliver. Here you go. We were together, Samantha told E.T. I blame him. He was the married man. He chose to lie and cheat. Of course, I'm not happy with Raquel, but no, it's his fault all this happened. It's very traumatic for me. Oliver is still working for Lisa Vanderpump in the French one, her Parisian restaurant or whatever. She's got 3 now in Vegas, I guess, opening up. I have so much tea about Lisa Vanderpump. A lot of things people forgot. I've got to remind them. I'm going to be doing a live. You better come. It's going to be so good. With somebody you haven't seen in a long time. So Kyle makes sure to promote Kimosabi in this season again. She pulls out her $6,000 diamond cowboy hat. I thought that was pretty good, Kyle, I have to say. Something I would do. She didn't go, did you know, though? She should have. She should have just done it. Then we sort of see this montage of all these great things they did in between stuff for Crystal's 40th birthday. And we really don't feel like we took part in it. So it was kind of a strange way they did it. I don't think any drama happened. So they just said, okay, let's just do a montage of fun moments really fast to show that they did something other than the lame shit we're watching on this episode. Because it is lame. They end up going out to a cowboy night and they go to a place that's like empty. There's not even good looking people there, which was really weird. And they're doing cow dancing or whatever. I forget what they call that, two-stepping or whatever. And there's a bull, and everybody's going to take a turn on the bull. Not only Kyle does it. And Kyle does really well because she's so fit right now. And she's not drunk, so she does a really good job. Sutton gets on the bull. She yells at the guy for like 10 minutes. And she's like, you got to run the bull this way. You got to run the bull that way. I don't know. I've got to say Sutton on the show now is really starting to annoy me. I was a fan. I'm like losing interest in her quick. I hope they get her off the alcohol because I think that's the problem if I was to say what I really think. because it makes you tired and you get withdrawn and you get irritable on camera. It's coming across on her. Anyway, she's on the bull. She doesn't do much, and then she gets off the bull. That's it. We find out that even though Sutton said on the last episode that she's not promoting Ocean Spray, that Ocean Spray is advertising on Bravo, and their ad is that like a teacher or somebody spikes the punch with Ocean Spray. Odd. Kind of little tone deaf with like a drinking problem, if that is the buildup, but okay. We think we're out of the woods, but as they're leaving, the elevator opens and the guys from the strip show that they went to the night before come out of the elevator. They're like in there, and Erika sees them and is like, oh, we were just leaving. And they're like, oh, we're going to our room or whatever. And she says, why don't you tell the guys how bad you didn't like the show the other night? And Sutton's like, I didn't say I didn't like the show. I just said I felt really uncomfortable with it. I didn't like when you were spread eagle and this and that. And the guy's like, well, next time maybe give it a chance and watch the whole show because it gets really good and there's lots of stuff that happens, and we would have loved you guys to all stay for the whole show and not leave in the middle of it. And Sutton feels bad and embarrassed, and she's like, I'm sorry, whatever. She kind of like apologizes, and then she's pissed at Erika for calling her out to these guys. And Erika's like, look, these are my friends. You were rude. I have a right to call you out to them so you could apologize. You know, I'm actually doing a better job at this than she did, but you get the idea. And then she gets in the elevator. Everybody gets in the elevator. They get in the Sprinter van to head to the private airport. And on the way to the airport, Sutton's like, you shouldn't have done that. And Erika's like, I had every right to do that. She doesn't yell or anything. She's very calm. She's like, I had a right. It was like a God moment. I did not plan them to come out in the elevator. There they were. Obviously, Sutton thinks that she did, but that's the way they're playing it on the show. And Erika's like, I'm sorry, that's karma. You should have been more polite and not so rude. And then Sutton says, well, I was offended, sort of. And she's like, I'm sorry. So at the end, they get to I'm sorry. But she's not doing it in a nice way. So then Dorit interjects herself and tries to be mediator. And it doesn't really work well. And then Garcelle and Dorit sort of get heated again. But they really can't get a fight going because neither of them really have any true animosity at each other. They're just trying to make stuff. Once in a while, when there isn't anything real going on the show, you know, your cast is a dud or you don't have any emotional problems happening, which is not the case here. It's just everybody's lying. So the show sucks. If people would just tell the truth, it would be great. Great TV without any of that. But if everybody's going to lie, then somebody better start acting. So Dorit should have flipped out over nothing. Like she should have been like, Garcelle, I've had it with you. You always interpret everything I do wrong. That kind of thing. Okay. They get to the airport. I need a water. They get to the airport and they fly home. Kyle goes over to Sutton's house to have a talk with her. Sutton doesn't seem right to Kyle. I think Kyle's alluding to the fact that she thinks she's been drinking and something's like she's not okay. And Sutton is acting really flamboyant and she's behaving really strange in the scene. She imitates Erika and gets very theatrical. She argues. Then she says things repetitively over and over again, like too much for this scene. And Kyle finally is like, I've had it. Like something's wrong with you. And the conversation changes from what it was supposed to be, which was like a recap of like what happened in Vegas, and you tell me your feelings and I tell you mine, and Sutton's pissed at Erika, etc. But it ends up actually being Kyle going, something's wrong with you. Okay, and that's where they leave it, and that was good because that was real. And then Erika and her telling the truth, but about Sutton. So I don't respect that Kyle is calling out a real problem that Sutton has, but not her own real problem. That would really bother me. And so what Sutton should have said is, why don't you really tell us what's going on with your goddamn marriage? if you're going to go for me, let's really talk about it. You want to go there? Let's go. Now we got good TV. So then Garcelle and Erika have lunch alone, which is weird because Garcelle couldn't stand Erika, didn't want to do anything with her and all this stuff. And now they're having lunch together and they seem to be connecting. Garcelle does acknowledge that it seems super hypocritical, but she's open to it because Erika seems open and is like a new person in this season than ever before, whatever, you know the drill. So that's it. That's where we stand on it. We better get some action, kids. This is tough. Let's hope next week's better. Oh, I'm getting a call.